Hello and welcome to the wonderful world of Math Review. Today we're going to be looking at decimals and ordering and comparing them when we look at practice point set 19, page 4. So this first set of questions here, it says to write a greater than, less than, or equals to in the circles with these decimals. So whenever we're comparing decimals, we need to remember that we have to stack them on top of each other. If it's easier for you to use one of them already done and write the other one underneath, that's totally fine. And that's what I like to do. So I'm always going to start by putting my decimal in the same place, and that way I know my decimals will line up, because they have to line up in order for our place values to line up. I'm going to write the 8 and the 6 to the right of it, and I'm going to write the 9 and the 1 to the left. Okay, so when I'm looking at greater than or less than, I'm going to go from the largest digit to the smallest to see which one ends up being bigger. So for the tens place, they're both 9s, so that doesn't help me. For the ones place, they're also both 1s, so that doesn't help me. For the tenths place, this one has an 8 tenths, and this one is 0 tenths. 8 is bigger, so no matter how many more numbers are past it, those don't matter at all, because this number right here was the one that helped me determine that 8 is bigger than 0, therefore 91 and 86 hundredths is bigger. With one like this, again, you can stack it and see which one's bigger. A lot of you will be able to just recognize that the whole number's out in front, 75 compared to 89. 89 is more, right? So not even worrying about these decimals, because those are later on in the digits, 75 is going to be smaller than 89. Or if you want to look at it even simpler, 8 is bigger than 7. So again, it's going to be a less than symbol. This last one, if we were to stack them on top of each other, I would be bringing my decimal down. I would put 8, 0. I would put 2 and 3 there. And whenever we have a number that has more decimal places than another, we always just fill that in with zeros. So I'm going to put a 0 right here. You should be able to tell pretty instantly that those two numbers are exactly the same. And therefore, we're going to put an equal sign. All right, we're going to be ordering these numbers from least to greatest. So let's take a look. We're going to, again, line them up. And I always like to start with the number that has the most place values or most values. So let's do that. Most digits. 62.732 thousandths. Okay. And then the rest, these two we'll do next. 82 and 94 hundredths. You'll notice that I lined that decimal up. 62 and 72 hundredths, and then 82 and 9 tenths. Now the first thing I'm going to do is add zeros so that they all go out to 3 place values after the decimal. That way it's easy for me to line them up and see what is larger or smaller. So I'm always going to start in my biggest digit, which is over here, and you'll notice that I see that there's 2 that have 8s and 2 that have 6s. Well, I know it has to be one of these 6 ones because 8 is too big. So let's go to the next number. Well, those are both 2s. That doesn't help me either. Let's go to that next number. 7s. Doesn't help me. Next number. 3 is bigger than 2. So if I want my least number, my smallest number first, the one with the 2 here is going to be my smallest number. So smallest is 62 and 72 hundredths. I'm going to rewrite it back in that original form. I don't need to keep those zeros. I know that my next biggest or smallest number is going to be the 62 and 732 thousandths, just because it was the only other one that had a 6 in front. All right, now let's look at these. They both have 8s, they both have 2s, they both have 9s, but then there's a 4 and a 0. So 0 is smaller than 4, so that's going to go first. So I have 82.9, or 82 and 9 tenths. My biggest number is 82 and 94 hundredths. There they are in order. If you look at this picture here, this is showing that this represents one whole. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parts, but they're all shaded in. If we look at the picture below, we need to write the decimal and fraction that represents the shaded part. Well, let's see how many are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's my part. And what would have been my whole? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 8 tenths is that fraction. Now, when I say that out loud, it helps me to be able to write my decimal. So when I say 8/10, I know that that can be written as 0, then a decimal, and then an 8, because this is the tenths value, and this is 8/10. The last problem says find the difference between 81 and 95 hundredths and 52 and 826 thousandths. Well, difference is the first thing I need to know. Difference means subtract. So I'm going to put my first number on top, 81 and 95 hundredths. I'm going to put that decimal down next because I know I have to line it up. I'll put a 52 in front and an 826 underneath, and I know I'm going to subtract. Remember what I was telling you earlier, if you've got a hole here, you're going to fill it in with a 0. Alright, so now we just subtract like normal, but I like to bring that decimal down right away so I don't forget. 0 take away 6. Well, I can't do that, so I'm going to borrow. This will become a 10, and this is a 4 now. 10 minus 6 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. 9 minus 8 is 1. 1 minus 2. Can't do that, so it's going to have to borrow again. This becomes an 11. This becomes a 7. 11 minus 2 is 9. 7 minus 5 is 2. So the difference between those numbers is 29 and 124 thousandths. If you have any questions, be sure to ask your teacher.